Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and yeah, so first and foremost a bit of a preamble. Yes, I know I haven't been sort of making a lot of full flight videos and a lot of other things, but yeah, I still am very much of the intent of making these. It's just that I've been focusing on Twitch a lot more for like full flights and such, but honestly, if there is something that you would like to see, then by all means drop a request and I will attempt to fulfill it. Anyway, with that being said, welcome to the Interesting Approaches series. It's a little series I've been meaning to do for quite a while now, and sort of from this series I hope to, well, it's not really so much something I hope to gain, it's something I hope to show. And yeah, in this series I hope to show the sort of procedures, precautions and so on and so forth required for these interesting approaches. A lot of these may seem really, really terrifying, and I mean, they certainly did terrify me when I started flight simming, but yeah, the sort of intent is to sort of show step by step what's expected of you, what you can do to make this approach simpler, and yeah, sort of how you can perform this approach effectively. And yeah, so at the moment we're over Bosnian airspace, headed to Skiathos, and it's been dubbed the European St. Martin for quite a few reasons, namely the low approach over the beach. I mean, there's a few videos, well, there's a lot of videos on YouTube you can watch just to see that in action. So we're over Bosnian airspace, headed to Skiathos, and we will be doing the locator approach for runway 1. So we're in the PMDG 737-800, just come from Manchester, and Athens radar has just gone online. So we'll expect hopefully full ATC coverage for our arrival into Skiathos. With that being said, however, let's get into the cockpit and run through the procedures. Right, welcome to the hot seat. We're at flight level 350, Mach 0.77 with very nice tailwind behind us, and we're about 230, 220 odd miles from our top of descent. I go 227 miles from our top of descent, and yeah, we'll now run through the expected procedure for this approach. So there you go, there's our route. So Manchester, Skiathos, Tomjet 2 Hotel X-Ray. If I can go back to the normal map, there we go. So we're currently I don't even know where we are. That's a good start. So we're between Solgu and Medux, so direct between the two, and then on the upper mic 867 to Cogout, then direct to Rana, then upper Lima 737 to the Thessaloniki VOR. So at Thessaloniki begins our start, the Thessaloniki 1 Charlie arrival, and it's about as simple as it can get. So inbound 336 radial to Skopelos, and that's it. There's only like one waypoint between the two, and that's Skopelos 15 DME. And then after Skopelos, we transition to the arrival. So again, inbound Skopelos on the 336 radial. That's radiating at 336 outwards of the VOR. So we're basically tracking that inbound at a heading of 156, I believe it is, if my maths is right. You know what, I'm just going to do 336 minus 180 just to not sound like a bit of a fool. There you go, 156. Okay, so I can still do maths, that's fine. Then after Skopelos, we track the Skopelos 203 radial out 10 miles, and at 10 DME we begin a sweeping right hand turn to intercept the locator, which is sort of 008 track inbound to the Skiathos NDB. Now the sort of main issue with that is the runway heading is 015. So what you're effectively doing is you're tracking that in until you're visual with a runway, which hopefully happens before our minimums of 1,600 feet. So, sort of to reiterate, Skiathos 203 radial 10 DME, right hand turn onto the locator, and you're effectively visual on that locator. So in that right hand turn, you want to be max 185, and yeah, you want to be max 185, and sort of when you start the turn you want to be at 2,000, when you finish the turn you want to be at 1,600. So you effectively want to be at minimums visual before this final fix. So sort of personal preference, what I want to be here is at around 170 knots, just to compensate for any sudden speed increases due to wind direction, and at flaps 15 with my gear down, if not flaps 25 with my gear down. And then after this fix, we've got 4.8 miles to go to the threshold, and we'll begin to slow down even further to our final approach speed. Now, if I go onto VAS, I think I've got VAS open, I do. So if I go into VAS, I'll enter the ICAO in, runway 01, download a meta, and our predicted landing weight is 64,490, so I'll just round it up to 64,500. If we can calculate that, so first we'll calculate with idle reverse, and that's looking a bit techie. So if we do max reverse, we'll be cutting it just about fine on maximum auto brake, also with flaps 40. So we'll fly the approach at 145, flaps 40, and with maximum auto brakes, transitioning to manual whenever possible. Okay, now that that's out of the way, we can set a few things up. So the landing altitude at Skiathos is the airport elevation at Skiathos is literally just above sea level, like it's at 54 feet. So we'll set the landing altitude to 50. I know we're landing at 9 feet, but yeah, just good practice to set that up. And what we can do as well is we'll turn that terrain radar off. What we can do to make our lives a bit easier is to set up some fixed rings. You won't see them just now, but we will when we're closing in on the approach. So our first fix is going to be the Skiathos VOR, so that's Sierra Kilo Papa. Okay, and we want to input the 336 radial at 15 DME. Radial at 15 DME. So that should give us a radial and a fixed ring. And we also want to put in the 203 radial at 10 DME. So 203 at 10. Okay. The next thing we want to put in is the Skiathos NDB. So that's Sierra Kilo Charlie. Kilo Charlie. Okay, and we want to put in the 008 radial. Superb. Now if we look at our other ND, that should all be tuned in. So we'll have a nice sort of second set of instrument readings for our approach into Skiathos. Right, finally, I want to put in the final approach course at 008 and the outbound course from Skiathos at 203. Again, don't have to do it, but it just makes my life a bit easier, and if it helps you, then yeah, absolutely go for it. Okay, the ADF frequency for Skiathos is 326. So 32. I can never seem to find it. Right, 326. That's fine. Switch that to ADF1, and then VOR2 is over here, and that would be the Skiathos VOR, no correction, Scopolos VOR at 113.4. Transfer that in. So ADF1 VOR2, ADF1 VOR2. Awesome. Now that should provide us with visual references for our arrival. That should make things a lot easier for us. With that all set up, we'll continue the cruise for now, and I will report back near enough to Thessaloniki or to Skiathos. Right, and another thing, because I just realised I completely forgot to do it, was to run through a few other things. So what I've done is I've set the decision altitude to 1600. I've also checked through the weather, entered that into our descent page, go to forecast. So QNH is 1018, transition level normally, well, transition altitude normally is 4000, but Athens radar might give us something different. Right, the other thing I want to do, before I completely forget, well, pre-tune 1018 might be a good idea, so pre-tune that. And what I also want to do is run through missed approach procedure, because I realised I didn't actually run through it properly. So missed approach procedure, fairly simple. Follow the locator. So follow 008 at a Skiathos NDB at maximum 185 knots. Climb to 2500, then make a right turn to Scopolos and hold as published. So we'll be setting missed approach altitude at 4000 once we land. Okay, so we've just made contact with Athens. We're inbound to Thessaloniki, and we've been given an initial descent of flight level 110. Now, sort of the closer we get, the sort of nicer those fixed rings.
Service terminated. Switch to Unicom 122.8.
Apologies, nicer those fixed rings end up becoming.
Tomjet 787, radar service terminated. Switch to Unicom 122.8.
Over to Unicom, thanks. Have a good night.
Bye bye.
Anyway, so we're sort of starting to pick up the radials and the fixed rings that I entered in. I think what we're going to now is the Scopolos 336 radial. That's found itself on VOR2 as well. We're about 87 miles from that VOR.
Aegean 120, cool. Clear for takeoff 03 right, wind 35017 knots. 03 right, clear for takeoff, Aegean 120.
All I can do is just turn vPilot down a bit. It is kind of loud, but anyway. So down we go, flight level 110. The sort of Thessaloniki Peninsula and Cassandria are are in our view, so that's Cassandria right there. Now turning over Thessaloniki. Thessaloniki should be below us, and now we fly oh wow, that's Sunbank. Right, now we fly inbound to Scopolos.
FedEx 170 cleared for the approach, runway 03 left, continue descent per the standard arrival.
Oh, so we can resync the heading.
Asta καλά. Άμα θέλετε μπορεί να κάνετε και shortcut, είστε νούμερο 1 για το ILS. Asta καλά.
Okay, so, as I said, fixed rings, radials, etc. all in and ready for us. What we can do, it's a bit early, but fasten seatbelt sign can go on. We can just do a
FedEx 170 επιφράγω κλείσει μέχρι την ώρα που θα φτάσετε. Όταν προσγειωθείτε καλείτε το Athens Ground.
quick scan of our overhead. It's fine. Right, okay. So voice recorder's fine, trimmer's fine, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. There's these sort of approaches where you really just check everything. So strobes are actually on, believe it or not. We don't need wing lights, we don't need logo lights, it's actually really bright out. We don't need anti-ice. The temperature at Skiathos is 23 degrees Celsius, so we're literally more than fine. So seatbelt sign was just turned on, we don't need any wipers. Generators all look fine, TR1, TR2 reading correct. That's fine. That's all fine. We haven't got fuel in the centre, we've actually depleted all of it.
3,300.
So we'll just keep at it as we are now. Perfect.
AGN 120, continue climb flight level 320.
Hello, 320, GM 120.
AGN 120, you're cleared direct Keres.
Second.
AGN 120, you're cleared direct Keres, Kilo Echo Romeo Echo Sierra.
Right, okay, so
GM 120.
at that point
AGN 120,
over there
level 320.
is on
320,
Skopolos 15 DME. So Delta 3360 is on Skopolos 15. You can see the range ring that I just put in cuts pretty much right through it. Okay, so we'll zoom.
Charlie 3 Mike 36 Mike Echo, welcome to Skiathos, taxi stand of your choice.
So what we're effectively doing is, well, what I'm effectively doing is I'm sort of zooming this in progressively. I think I'll leave that screen at 40. Although, you know what? Don't need data, we can put the terrain on. Put the terrain radar on this side as well. You know what? No, terrain radar off that side. And do we need data here? Yeah, data might be an idea.
To all stations, Athens control is closing. Switch to Unicom 122.8, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Right, that's fantastic timing. Right, okay. We're on our own now. So, over to Unicom. And we'll fly the rest of the approach published. So, set our MCP to 4,000 feet. We want to be at 4,000 level at Skopilos. And once I can confirm that with 4,000 at Skopilos, I'll you know what? I'll bring that down to 1,600 right away. So we'll just follow an LNAV path, going sort of going down. We've got the altitude restrictions already in place. So Skopilos at or above 4,000, then the 10 DME mark at Skopilos at or above 2,000, then final fix at 1,600. Which is all well and good, exactly what I was hoping for. So, take a quick peek outside. Again, there's I've already forgot the name of that peninsula. That's Cassandria. Sorry, Cassandria's there. There's some keys there. And right now, it's just us and the Aegean Sea until we get to Skiathos. Which shouldn't be too far now, so yeah, we'll just keep an eye on that. Just keeping an eye on that. You know what? Actually, what we could do is go to the forecast transition level of 5,000. So you know what? I guess we'll request a descent winds again. I didn't even mean to click that. So. Right, descent winds request. Once that uplink comes through, we'll load up and execute. Just keep that on the legs page for now. Alright, forecast uplink ready, sorry, load and execute. So thought I'd mention just a bit of a correction, we're not tracking 336 inbound to Skiathos, that's kind of slightly off. I think it's, actually I don't know, it might be the nearest heading by like a degree or something like that. Anyway, I digress. So what we can do in the meantime is begin to slow ourselves down. I don't want to be too quick at Skiathos. I want to be at Skiathos at around 200 knots. So you know what? Actually, speed intervene off. We'll just let it do its own thing. So we seem to have like gone over the VNAV path. So might need to bring some speed brake out, which is always very fun. Okay, just keep an eye out on our vertical speed and such. Okay, drag required. That's fine. Bring some speed brake out. Right, so we are at Skiathos 37 DME, so we've got a fair bit until we actually like need to slow down. You know what? Can set the speed restriction to 250 below 10,000. I don't know why it sets it to 240. In any case, back to the legs page. We've gone below path again, so we can get rid of the speed brake. So at flight level 100, standard checks again. So landing lights on, and just make sure everything else is configured. Now with with the 737-800, or with the 737 in general, are there various SOPs regarding the position of the engine start switches? Because I don't know, I'm sure some airlines choose to do it at 10,000, some airlines choose to do it on final, but I'm not too sure. So if anyone does know, please please make me knowledgeable. But personally, I think this time I will set those start switches to continuous once we're at about Skiathos 10 DME and begin to drop our speed back. So a flight inbound Skiathos at no more than 220 knots. Still undecided whether or not we'll do it at 210, 220 or 200. But not more than 220 anyway. And then at sort of once we're outbound, we'll begin to configure for the turn. So as I said, 170 knots at flaps 15 or 25. You know what? 170 knots, flaps 25, gear down in the turn. And then once we're established on the locator, we'll configure ourselves fully. And to find out our VREF, we'll figure that out shortly, sort of once the weights calibrate and so on and so forth. Okay, so the automatic direction finder for Skiathos coming alive. It's just doing its thing and like jiggling around. Bit mad. Yeah, it takes ADF just takes a while to calibrate, so that's absolutely fine. I believe over there is Skiathos. So if I just look at a map quickly, that should actually be Skiathos. So 1, 2, 3 islands, it's the island over there. So we have the airport in sight, which is actually perfect because we're coming up to that, well, we're at like 21 DME, we're coming up to that 15 DME mark very shortly. Still got a very powerful tailwind behind us. We'll just have to factor with that when we land. Again, I'll have a look at the weather just to make sure. So wind is now 010 degrees, 6 knots, and the QNH is still 1018. That's perfect. Almost forgot, 10,000, landing lights on. Since we're descending to an altitude, I'll I'll reset the altimeter. So reduce speed to 220. Since we're below 250, we can fly flaps 5. So there we go. That should be flaps 5, which it is. I'll just continue flying as such until we're at Skiathos. The flap 10 speed is 210. I'm fairly sure there's like a lower debug speed, but for now we'll fly flaps 5. I think the drag that causes is sufficient for our descent. There we go, Skiathos 15 DME, which is actually perfect. I wanted to slow down around here anyway. And yeah, so I'll sort of announce our position to other traffic. Skiathos traffic, Tomjet 2 Hotel X-Ray, Skiathos 13.2 DME, flying Thessaloniki 1 Charlie arrival for locator approach runway 1, will report when outbound Skiathos. Okay, no response, which is either foreboding or good, I guess. Well, according to that spy, there's no one on the ground at Skiathos, no one departing, no one arriving. We are literally the only ones inbound Skiathos. But at the same time, it's good practice to keep other aircraft, if there are any, notified. Right. We'll keep that at 20 for now. You know what? Zoom that in to 20. Keep that at 10. We'll just keep flying the procedure for now. I mean, as much as I would like to cut corners, it's not an airport that I would quite like to cut corners with on procedures. So, continue flying direct, or rather inbound Skiathos for now. And once we've done that, we'll be outbound on the 203 radial, we'll begin to slow down for the turn, and get ourselves configured for landing. So, and just keep at it for now. Can enjoy the views. You know what? That's a good enough screenshot. I'll take that. Lovely. Might take another few screenshots at very, very risky times, but it's just pretty, innit? Right, what we can do is take a quick look out over the wing, as you do. And what I will do is also fish out the flight recorder from somewhere if I can find it. Okay, so that'll be somewhere in my flight sim folder, standby. God, when you install it from a Microsoft store, it's just got the wildest file path. It's mental. Right, flight recorder. I will, I think I'll start the recording once we've turned to final, just for like replays and that in it. If I can edit some replays into the video, I'll actually be quite good, so yeah. Okay, there's the outbound turn from Skiathos. Begin slowing down to 170 knots. Right, that was incredibly bouncy. What was going on there? Wow, nice. Okay. Maybe QNH has changed. Standby 1. No, QNH is still 1018. Okay, interesting. Okay. So outbound Skiathos will get configured. So, engine start switch is continuous. Speed check, flaps 10. Gear extend speed is 270, so we could in theory just extend it now actually. So speed check, flaps 15. Just give us all the drag. And speed check, flaps 25. Just keep it going for now. Okay. So we've got the terrain radar on, that's fine. Okay, we'll just maintain 170 for now with the gear down. Turn the turn-offs on as well. That's fine. Right, so report again. So Skiathos traffic, Tomjet 2, hotel standby. Got my call sign. Skiathos traffic, Tomjet 2, hotel X-ray, outbound Skopilos for the locator, runway 01. Good sign when I forget my call sign. Right, another thing I don't want to forget is the auto brakes and the speed brakes. So auto brakes max, speed brake armed. We can go to, well, that's what I was going to do now. So VREF 141, final approach speed +5, so 146. That'll do nicely. Oh, just keep it going. You know what? My aircraft. I'll begin hand flying it a bit early. Just keep it stable as is for now. Pitch the nose down a bit. That's actually quite high. I want to go down a bit lower, so what I do as well is arm the approach. So I go, that's the turn. Just follow the flight director. As I said, we are like really high, so kind of want to bring ourselves down and tighten that turn as well, because last thing we want to be is like way off the final approach course. It's a gorgeous sunset, to be fair. Right. Right, now we're a bit... Oh my god, that was aggressive. Sorry about that. Right. A bit low, but that's fine. I'd rather be too low than too high here. So there we go. Prepare to roll the wings level. Airport in sight at our 1 o'clock.
Approaching minimums.
Right, perfect. That's actually pretty bang on.
Minimums.
Continue. Right, as I said, we are a bit low, but that's fine, that's not a problem. And just sort of level off a bit, trim up. Let that sort of follow the final approach course for now. Awesome. Okay, as I said, VREF is 141, so we'll fly it at VREF +5, which is 146. We'll have a bit of a shallow descent, so we can sort of keep going down, wait for the glide slope to sort of catch up, and yeah, don't know what else to say. Right, okay, so set our missed approach altitude, we can see the airport. Again, last thing I want to be is too high, so you're not. In the meantime, we can set flaps 40 as well, almost forgot, so just give us that bit more lift and a bit more stability. That's very nose up. That's like the last thing I want. Just wait for that glide path indicator to come through. So we're I mean, we're effectively visual from here on in. I'll take the auto throttle out. There you go.
1,000.
Check. And Skiathos traffic, Tomjet 2 Hotel X-ray 3 mile final, runway 01. Right, just keep going. As I said, we are visual. So we can have the instruments as backup, but they're not going to be my be-all at the moment. You know what, I'll keep the flight directors on, solid. Right. Right, just keep it going.
500.
Give us some more throttle. We don't want to drop below our VREF, ideally. That's 4 reds from the looks of it. Again, rather 4 reds than 4 white at Skiathos. So we're not going for a smooth touchdown here. We want to just be on the runway.
300.
Let's keep it going. That's a good attitude to have. Right, 4 reds still. Sort of shallow out a bit. Again, we are visuals, so we can see the runway. We can see everything around it.
100. 50.
Right.
30.
Idle.
20, 10.
Flare. Touchdown. Spoilers out. Reverse max. Decel. Oh, those auto brakes are powerful. Right. 70 knots. Manual braking. And idle forward. Whoa, that was awesome. Glad to see those auto brakes worked well. Right, okay. Landing lights off. Taxi light on. And we can not stop on a runway because the brakes are too hot. We can turn those engine start switches off. Turn these strobes off. I know it's a bit early, but YOLO. Right, okay. Oh, that was fun. Right. Clean up. Bring all the flaps up. Speed brake up. TCAS off. And you know what? GSX. We will take stand free. Nope. There you go. That's perfect. Stand free. Wait for all the flaps to come up. We can actually turn these lights off now because the taxi route is just so short. I can also stop the recording. Certainly an interesting approach. Wasn't expecting it to go that well slash that interestingly. I mean, again, according to VAS, we needed auto brake max to make that, but could easily have done so with auto brake free. That was one for the future, innit? So, okay. Marshallah do its thing. You know, but at the same time, I don't really trust the Marshallah even though it's a custom profile, so just keep going forward. That's it. That's it. Okay. Stop. That's APU on. We can switch to the gen. We can switch to the bleed as well. And good night 1 and 2. Awesome. I didn't even mean to do that. Whoops. Oh well. Parked a bit too far apparently. Okay, good for you. Okay. Standard procedure. So, seatbelts off. Beacon light off. You know what, I want to see if I'm using the custom profile, which I am. Okay. And we can request deboarding. So,
Boarding requested.
set the chocks, go back to ground services. Right, that's going to open the cargo doors without, well, on its own. FS actions, ground services, request ground power, request aircon as well because it's hot. And is it going to be front and rear stairs? Yes, it is. Okay, stairs front, stairs rear, lovely. And is my TCAS off? Yes, it is. Awesome. So, ground power is available, so we'll switch to that. and we can turn the fuel pumps off, the APU off, fuel pump off, keep the packs etc. as is, and we can take a peek outside and gaze. Wait, never mind, I requested boarding instead of deboarding, so stand by while I fix that. Right, okay, so now that I've actually pressed the correct thing on GSX, we can safely celebrate a successful landing at Skiathos. I very much enjoyed that. Hope you all did as well, and yeah, whilst the PAX bus is just arriving, I'll bring this video to a close. So hope you learnt something from this video, hope you enjoyed this video, and if you've any more ideas, requests and so on and so forth, then feel absolutely free to drop them in the comments below. Thanks very much, and I will see you next time.